Oh boy, the Niners lose the Super Bowl and drama is already getting underway. Coming up on today's San Francisco 49ers Report, does Brandon Aiyuk want out of San Francisco? Not only that, does he want to get traded to the Las Vegas Raiders? A couple of social media posts from his brother/best friend, as well as his girlfriend, point to him potentially being unhappy with the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to dive into this. But first, today's poll question is this. What would you do with Brandon Aiyuk? Career year, second team All-Pro. He's ascended every year that he's been in the NFL, and he could be due $20+ million with the contract extension going into the final year of his deal, fifth year, thanks to the Niners exercising that fifth-year option. Would you extend him type E? Would you trade him and get some good value back type T? Let me know down in the comments, and with that, let's dive into it all right here. All right, welcome into the show. Hope all of you are on that continued recovery from that heartbreaking Super Bowl 58 loss to the Chiefs. The 49ers Report is sponsored by Manscaped. Get 20% off on the best men's grooming products by heading to manscaped.com/49ers. What is going on with Brandon Aiyuk? We don't even get an opportunity to breathe after what happened on Sunday in Las Vegas, and already the drama is underway. Brandon Aiyuk's brother/best friend, conflicting reports there, said Aiyuk is going to play in Las Vegas next year due to his frustrations. More on that in a moment. Stay tuned. We have some screenshots. Then his girlfriend went on TikTok and indicated that his days with the Niners might be over. With Aiyuk, interesting contract situation. San Francisco exercised his fifth-year option, so he's going into the final year of his deal, but $14 million on that fifth year are all guaranteed. Now, here are the screenshots from Brandon Aiyuk's best friend/brother. He said, this is the exact reason why we're leaving San Francisco. Thank you, 49ers, for drafting my brother. We are forever grateful. BA to Vegas. And then another screenshot, another Instagram story. Why does your All-Pro 1,300-yard wide receiver have just 3 catches in the Super Bowl? Now, with that latter point and that second post, I don't disagree with the notion there that Brandon Aiyuk wasn't targeted enough. I didn't love the Niners' game plan offensively. Now, part of that was dictated by the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs have the best, most complex defense in the NFL. They switched up from having a lot of zone coverages in that first half to playing a lot more man in that second half. Brock Purdy even said, myself and Kyle Shanahan, we weren't expecting all of those man looks after halftime, and that's why the Niners offense went into that lull. But when you have Brandon Aiyuk, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle, who are all pro players, combined for 8 catches, 86 yards, it's not just Brandon Aiyuk, his friends, and his family members who should be disgruntled and frustrated with what transpired. But keep in mind, you're going up also against arguably one of the best defensive coordinators of all time in Steve Spagnuolo, who has 4 Super Bowl championships to his name, won 2 with the New York Giants, taken down and slaying the Giants in the New England Patriots, and then he's won back-to-back Super Bowls with the Kansas City Chiefs. And to have Aiyuk, Deebo, Kittle be lacking in that production department, I'd be frustrated as well. But what makes me laugh, did Aiyuk's friends spend the entire week in Vegas and have a really good time? I mean, we were in Las Vegas as well. It's a great city. I had 3 of the best dinners consecutively on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night. But you want to leave Kyle Shanahan and you want to go to Antonio Pierce? I get that players want to play for AP. I would want to play for AP. But he's in the AFC West, and 2 times a year you're playing now Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, and Sean Payton. And with the Las Vegas Raiders, a consistently dysfunctional organization, who's going to throw you the football? Aiden O'Connell? Jimmy Garoppolo? They might draft a rookie. Right now, you're in a great situation, Brandon Aiyuk, with Brock Purdy, who's ascending, who is top 5, top 10 in every major statistical category. You have Kyle Shanahan, one of the best play designers and play callers in the NFL. And despite the Niners having a run-heavy offense, you were one of the best wide receivers in football in 2023. And with San Francisco, every year that you've been in the NFL, all 4 years, you've gotten better and better and better and better every single season. Aiyuk's girlfriend, though, also posting this, and Aiyuk's girlfriend is the baby mama here. Okay, this might have been the last day that we touch foot on Levi's Stadium. Me and Braylon, their son, is a couple, because we might not be out here next year. Couple of different ways that you can look at this, right? Going back to the previous points that I made, it's easy to see why Brandon Aiyuk is frustrated with the lack of targets in the Super Bowl. He's also had great production in a run-heavy offense, which is great and impressive, but Aiyuk could also go elsewhere and be the featured number 1 wide receiver for another team across the National Football League and simultaneously get paid a larger contract than what the 49ers can afford. This could also all be a leverage tactic. Brandon Aiyuk wants out. 49ers, you better pay up. 49ers then say, we need Brandon Aiyuk. The chemistry he had with Brock Purdy, how he's been able to develop into a complete wide receiver who has every single route to his route tree, who is a threat to take it to the crib, a great route runner with great footwork who can also get vertical and take the top off of the defense. He's instrumental to what we want to do on the offensive side of the football. If he wants out, we got to appease him, we got to make him be happy, and then we have to pay him. The 49ers here, though, are in a difficult spot, and this is what we talked about during our post-game show in the aftermath of that soul-crushing kick-in-the-balls defeat to Kansas City on Sunday. This roster still has elite talent. The 49ers are the favorites to win the Super Bowl next year, but this roster is also getting a little bit older, increasingly expensive, and the Niners, realistically, even though the salary cap is going up north of $240 million, are not going to be able to keep everybody. From the Niners' standpoint, you're talking about a first-round pick in 2020 who's gotten better every year. He's now developed into an all-pro. He's a great weapon for your young quarterback. He's embodied the Niners culture with his physicality, his toughness, him being a great wide receiver, a respected team leader. He's not named officially a team captain, but people look at him in that regard. And how about his ability to impact the game as a run blocker? That's everything that Kyle Shanahan wants from his wide receivers. He's a core player on this football team for this organization. But Aiyuk's value right now, coming off an all-pro year, might never be higher. So if you trade him away this offseason to save a little bit of coin, because this roster is getting more lucrative from a financial sense, you can get some great value back. A first-round pick, maybe an offensive tackle. Maybe you use that first-round pick on your future right tackle. So from a business standpoint, these are the things that the Niners are thinking about. Now, if a trade does go down, you know we're going to talk about it here on the San Francisco 49ers Report, the largest independently run YouTube channel that covers the Niners on a daily basis year-round, and this is your year-round home for the best Niners coverage. So make sure you lock us in and you subscribe right now. We're going to keep you in the know with all things Niners all year round. Today's 49ers Report is sponsored by Manscaped. 2024 is here in full swing, and that means it's time for a New Year's resolution check-in with your friends at Manscaped. Newsflash, da-da-da, da-da-da. Never too late to level up your grooming game and keep your bush tame. That's right. Manscaped's new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on your confidence this year. Brandon Aiyuk's route running, footwork, it's a cheat code. So too is everything from Manscaped, the best men's grooming products in the game. Whether you're going for a trim or that clean-shaven look, this trimmer has you covered. Trusted by over 10 million men worldwide, now is your time to get a grip on your grooming with our exclusive offer. Head to manscaped.com/49ers. Use the promo code 49ers20 for 20% off. The ball has dropped, but don't drop the ball on your balls. Introducing the MVP of 2024, Manscaped's 5th generation lawnmower. Not just a trimmer, it's your grooming sidekick. Equipped with 2 skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little bit off the top, like a Travis Kelce fade, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. We care about you. We care about your balls. We want you to look good in the bedroom with your significant other. So get hooked up with Manscaped, 20% off. Use the code 49ers20 at manscaped.com/49ers. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of this video. With Aiyuk here, you have to have a realistic conversation about that looming contract, and I think that San Francisco should make him an offseason priority. Young, emerging, developing player who's a great route runner, complete wide receiver who can impact the game in a plethora of ways. And you look at his first 4 years in the National Football League. Comes into the league in 2020. That's the COVID year. No preseason games, no training camp practices, or at least they were limited. Still has great production in 12 games. Turns a corner in 2021, gets out of Kyle Shanahan's doghouse, and down the stretch at about the quarter point of the season, I thought he was terrific then on. And then in 2022, for the first time, he surpasses 1,000 receiving yards, has 8 touchdowns in this year, career year. Catches go down by 3, but the yards receiving go up by more than 300. Average yards per catch, number 2 in the NFL at 17.9, and he had 7 touchdowns. Now, you look at the highest paid wide receivers list per year, and Brandon Aiyuk has worked himself into this category. Because let me ask you this. Would you rather have Brandon Aiyuk or Keenan Allen? Would you rather have Brandon Aiyuk or DJ Moore? Would you rather have Brandon Aiyuk or Terry McLaurin? I've said here on the show, I think Aiyuk is a better wide receiver, maybe not weapon, than Deebo Samuel. But Deebo Samuel, who's also been injured a lot more than Brandon Aiyuk, is chiming in at nearly $24 million on an average annual value basis. Now, Stephon Diggs, $24 million. I think he's a little bit better than Brandon Aiyuk. But the point here being is that the going right for Aiyuk is going to be at least $20 million. That is the floor. And the Niners are probably going to start those negotiations at $20 million. Aiyuk and his camp are probably going to start, let's say, $23 to $25 million. And are they going to be able to find that middle ground between 20 and let's call it $25 million? If the Niners aren't willing to pay Aiyuk, I guarantee you this. Those who know ball know that Aiyuk is special, and another organization that is wide receiver thirsty, wide receiver needy, wide receiver desperate, they're going to pay Aiyuk. Because you look at some of the analytical numbers here, the overall production, obviously very good. We just looked at that. But from an analytical perspective, and a lot of organizations are starting to value analytics a little bit more, Brandon Aiyuk has an argument to be made, him and his agent, that he's a top 5, top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. Yards per catch this year, he was number 2. In the regular season, he was number 1, 17.9. Yards per target, again, explosive threat, who could take over games, number 2 in the NFL, 12.8. His overall Pro Football Focus wide receiver grade was second to only Tyreek Hill. 91.5, that's extraordinary. His expected points added, number 2 among all wideouts at 107.3. And even though the Niners had a running back who had more than 2,000 all-purpose yards, another wide receiver who had more than 1,000 all-purpose yards, and George Kittle, who had more than 1,000 receiving yards, and they run the football a lot clearly, Brandon Aiyuk in the entire NFL was a top 10 receiver as far as overall receiving yards. So if you don't think that Brandon Aiyuk is going to get $20+ million, I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. So what would you do with Aiyuk? We started the show with this poll question here. We're going to round out with it. E for extend, T for trade, with all of that information now at your disposal. Before we dip on out of here, make sure you give me a follow on X. Give me a follow on Instagram. I've been putting a lot of short-form content. I walk to work, pop up a video of me talking about the Niners. So if you want even more content from me, you can give me a follow on social media. Appreciate all of you for rocking here with us. The Niners may have lost. The season may be over, but we're just ramping up our coverage here on the show.